Do you need to learn how AKSHAN works ASAP in Champ Select before your minions spawn? Skip ahead using the timestamp chapters in the progress bar if you need to quickly find a specific ability, and check the description for exact up-to-date stats, but we'll start with a 30-second overview. AKSHAN is a mobile marksman-assassin hybrid. He deals primarily sustained physical damage with a small portion of sustained magic damage. Many of his abilities scale with critical strike chance, attack speed, and lifesteal, not just attack damage. This means he scales better into the late game than most assassins, but he has worse early game burst as well as a more expensive item build. His strengths include incredible roaming with indefinite stealth, amazing pick potential on low health targets from far away, as well as exceptional mobility and the ability to cancel his allies' death time if he avenges their deaths. His weaknesses include having one of the shortest attack ranges for a marksman, difficulty dealing damage to tanky targets, lackluster 1v1 dueling potential, and a higher reliance on ability cooldowns than most marksmen. The first part of his passive is a 3-hit passive, dealing magic damage that scales only with level. This is the only non-physical damage in his kit. Stacks last a few seconds, but there's no cooldown on them. If detonated on a champion, he's briefly shielded on a short cooldown. All attacks and abilities can apply stacks to multiple targets. The second part of his passive makes his basic attacks fire a double shot attack, trading consistent DPS for higher upfront burst. The second shot deals reduced damage but stacks his passive. If he wants to trade burst for mobility, he can cancel his second attack early, gaining a short movement speed boost that gets faster with bonus attack speed and levels. His Q is a mid-range skill shot boomerang projectile. It deals physical damage in both directions, with each stacking his passive. It deals reduced damage to minions, hampering his wave clear. Every target it hits slightly extends its range with no limit, and champions struck grant him a short movement speed boost. The projectile grants sight along its path and briefly reveals any target struck, so it can be used to check bushes and the fog of war. The ability has a mid to short cooldown. His W grants him camouflage stealth, so he can be spotted by control wards or if he gets too close to an enemy champion. When standing beside terrain or within brush, his camouflage lasts literally forever. In the open, it only lasts a few brief seconds. This means it's great for roaming long distances, but bad at being used in combat. At low ability ranks, it has a pretty long cooldown, but at max rank, it removes the mana cost and has a nearly non-existent cooldown. There's a passive part of this ability too. Whenever an enemy champion kills an ally, that enemy is marked as a scoundrel for a few seconds. While AKSHAN is camouflaged, scoundrels leave misty trails towards their location, which grant AKSHAN bonus movement speed and mana regeneration if he follows them. If he gets a takedown on a scoundrel, which is a kill or an assist, before the mark expires, he gets bonus gold, and all allies killed by the scoundrel will instantly respawn on the summoner's platform without waiting for the rest of their death timer. His E fires a skill shot grappling hook that can attach to terrain, including structures and champion-generated terrain. He recasts it to swing in either direction, rapidly firing shots at the nearest visible enemy in range, prioritizing enemies with passive stacks on them. Each shot applies his 3-hit passive, but other on-hit damage is reduced, and deals a small amount of physical damage that scales with bonus attack speed and bonus attack damage, also dealing reduced critical strike damage. Lifesteal works with this ability too. He will continue to swing until he either recasts the ability again, or if a few seconds expire, or if he collides with an enemy champion or terrain, although terrain collisions tend to be quite lenient. He fires one final shot as he dismounts. The cooldown is pretty long, but if he gets a takedown, either a kill or an assist, then the cooldown is reset, so he can either make his escape or continue to chase. His ultimate is an extremely long-ranged point-and-click. He channels as he charges up several shots for a few seconds, which can be visually seen, then fires them as a barrage of physical damage projectiles. These deal more damage to low HP targets, apply his 3-hit passive, can deal reduced critical strike damage, and applies slightly reduced lifesteal. It also shows him when someone is low enough to be executed. He can reactivate it early to fire fewer shots. More shots can be loaded at higher ability ranks. He can move when channeling, but cannot move when firing, but he can freely use flash as well as his E during any part of the ability to reposition. This is important because all shots can be blocked by anything that is targetable, including structures, so targets can use their tower as cover, for example. AKSHAN can also abuse this to deal intentional damage to structures by targeting champions behind them. Each shot instantly executes minions as well, making it hard to hide behind a minion wave, and the ability could be used as long-range wave clear in a pinch. The cooldown is about average for an ultimate ability, but if the channel is cancelled by something such as enemy crowd control, the ability goes on a significantly reduced cooldown. I'm bquipd, and I want you to be equipped in your games. Good luck and have fun!